The shooter in this situation in Texas was a military veteran. Have you, at the VA, explored whether he had ever been in the system or had come into contact with any VA facilities?
Yeah, he had not. This is a man who was given a bad conduct discharge from the Air Force. That means that he had committed a crime. He, as you know, was charged and found guilty of beating his wife and his child and had other violent crimes associated with it and received bad conduct. We do not take care of people who have bad conduct or dishonorable discharges. There are other systems like prison systems and others that are available, and other community resources. But we feel strongly that the men and women that have served the country do not want to be associated with people like this gentleman who have clearly deviated from the accepted moral and ethical practices of society. And we do feel strongly, however, and this goes back to my role as a physician, that everybody does deserve help, and there are other resources, just not the VA, for a gentleman like this.
How many other, I guess one of the concerns when something like this happens, and certainly we know the Defense Department is sort of exploring right now how many other cases like this may be out there. That has to be a fear of yours, that there are people in the system who either may not be getting helped or may have slipped through the cracks, who may at some other point cause something maybe not of this scale, but violent and certainly troublesome.
Yeah. One of the difficulties in understanding this is for people who haven't spent time in the military, is understanding the various categories of discharge. Up to 15% of those that leave the service receive what's called an other than honorable discharge, which is different than a bad conduct or dishonorable discharge. The other than honorable discharge category, a fair amount of people, if there's 250,000 people leaving the military a year and talk about 15%, that could be 40,000 service members, receive this other than honorable discharge, sometimes for behavioral issues, using inappropriate language, maybe potentially acting out, that can often be a result of something that happened as a result of their service. Post-traumatic stress, for example, causing erratic behavior. We do believe that those veterans do deserve help from the VA, that particularly when it comes to behavioral health issues, that we don't want them not having access to the right type of care, because they tend to be at higher risk for suicide and higher risk for homelessness. So one of the very first decisions I made as secretary was to expand the VA's ability to take care of other than honorable discharge veterans with emergency mental health services, something previously that they had not had. And just this week, the House of Representatives voted on a bill and passed it to allow VA to even broaden its coverage of those with other than honorable discharges.
Yeah. That would allow you then to certainly to expand the services, and there must have been a compelling need for that then.
Yes, yeah, I think this is a population, in fact, you would argue, maybe even the most vulnerable population that had been out there with no access to mental health care services. And of course, going back to my belief as a physician and also belief in running the Department of Veterans Affairs, that is our mission, to take care of those that have been impacted because of their service to the country, and we don't want to exclude that population.
So